my gosh, who's going to be managing Leicester at the weekend? Who knows? Who absolutely knows? Literally 10 seconds before we go live, obviously tonight's debate is who's the next manager going to be. But every time you look and the rumours keep changing, people are dropping out like flies, honestly. We've seen the latest one now. Owen, OPA, as you know him, Owen says, Graham Potter and David Moyes are not currently being considered for the vacant manager role at Leicester City. Well, that's two of your top ones, isn't it, everybody? Who do you want? Why do you want them? Who's left? Where are we going to start scraping the barrel from? I want your views. I want your comments in the next 30 minutes. There's so much to chat about, and it's all going to be about who's next, who's going to come and take us on. I just don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Love watching Leicester. We love the roller coaster. It's just never dull, isn't it? Who would fancy just a mid-table, nothingy season just to give us all a break? None of us. We love it. It's either up here, winning a league, down there, managers come, managers go. But we all still follow Leicester City, whatever it is. Now, don't forget, you can follow us at Leicester Fan TV on all the different channels. And most importantly, tonight, for the next 30 minutes, we want all your views and all your comments in there. Kyle says, Ruud van Nistelrooy, the old interim manager at Man United, managed 4 games. Also had best part of the season at PSV. He's probably top of that list. Should we have a quick look at the list as what it looks like at the moment? Owen saying Potter is out. Moyes are out. So that would leave Ruud as the second, or the top of that tree, followed by Carlos Corberán. I tell you, there's some names in there. We'll get on to those names in a minute. Let's get as many of your comments up there. And then I've put the link out there. If you want to join, click on and give me your views live. You can do that. And it's going to be an interesting one. Outsider Southgate says, Scooby Baswell, what do you think? Gareth Southgate, he managed well at England. If Moyes is not there and Potter's not there, let's face it, I think those two would be everybody's two that you'd have said one or either of those. But again, like in the summer, it sounds like they're not being considered. They're not interested. I mean, how many times do you want to talk to Potter? He said no twice. And Moyes, well, we don't know if he was actually spoken to, but he obviously didn't take them in the summer. Keith says it's not just the new manager. It's also important that the coaching team is right. Keith, who's looking after Leicester at the moment? I know they're all on the jollies at the moment out in Copenhagen. That's another thing. I'm sure we'll get onto it. But who's taking them for training tomorrow? Who's managing them on Saturday? Is it like Taffy the Kit Man still? Is it Doris the tea lady? Who is going to be taking them to Brentford on Saturday? You would have thought if we made a sacking, we've got something lined up. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It kind of makes sense, but no, it doesn't look like we have. Leon is saying Ruud or Potter. Leon, I think Potter's not being considered. Listen, if Owen's saying it from BBC Radio Leicester, I think that's interestingly. AD says Southgate is awful. Casey says the special one. Where? Let's have a look. Let's get that up there. Is Mourinho in there? He is 33-1 for the special one to come here. I don't know. He's never managed a relegation team, has he? Patrick, good evening, Patrick says the players are back from Copenhagen. Yep, probably just dusting themselves down, ready for a training session tomorrow. Mark says Corberán would be another Cooper. For me, Carlos Corberán, of course, if he comes in, I'll back him and give him, hopefully he'll come in and do well for us. But listen, for me, he's got no real credentials apart from West Brom are 6th in the Championship. If somebody thinks that's good. And that takes us into Mark Robbins as well. Again, he's up there in the top. So keep getting your views in, keep getting your comments in. Mark says, Ruud, like I say, is favourite for the Hamburg job now. So may miss out on him. Yes, Mark's absolutely right. That's been there. That he is more strongly linked with Hamburg in the Bundesliga B, or the second division out there, I believe they are. Bertie Button. Bertie Button, you might as well come and manage Leicester if you ask me. He says they haven't a clue. Sky says not Potter or Moyes in there. Lance says people wanting Ruud van Nistelrooy, Robbins, Corberan is a joke. The West Brom lad is a joke. Lance, listen, they don't come with massive pedigree. I would agree with you. I'm going to get in. I've got Reedy, I've got Simon clicked in, and I've got Tom. I'm going to add them all in. We'll carry on the debate. But listen, they're going to come in very, very shortly. I want to get as many comments up as well while we're talking with them, because this is the Fan Zone show. Ben, good evening, says the club not having anyone lined up just shows again once the shambles we are behind the scenes. I'm going to ask that to the lads, because that to me, at 2, 3, 4 o'clock yesterday, when Cooper is let go, surely we have a plan. So let's get Reedy in, let's get Simon in, let's get Tom in. Thanks, lads, for joining us. Let's start. Simon, the club not having anyone lined up just shows once again what a shambles we are behind the scenes. Listen, it's only 24 hours. Maybe they've got somebody lined up. What's your views on Ben's comment?
I agree with him. I mean, for me, if the club was starting to err on the side of moving Cooper on, it should have been done in the international break, where there was 2 weeks there of free space to sort all this out. We're now a few days away from a game away at Brentford. We need to pick up some points, having a couple of dismal performances, in my opinion. And we're now scratching around, and the media is saying our 2 prime targets are non-runners. So it looks like a bit of a mess, if I'm honest, and they need to act quickly.
Tom, obviously yesterday, about 4 o'clock, we're having this debate. Cooper has gone. Who's the new manager going to be? Top of everybody's list, and all the polls that have been ran, not just on our channels, but everybody's channels, has been either Graham Potter or Moyes. Seems like they're both out, Tom.
Yeah, if you go by Owen and a few tweets and different accounts that, Potter's not in the running, or David Moyes. Now, where do you go? And it's concerned if we haven't got anyone ready lined up, because we saw what happened in the season we got relegated. Those 2 games against Bournemouth and Aston Villa, we didn't have a manager until Dean Smith came in. They were costly. We lost both those games, and if you'd got a point from each of them, we would have stayed up. So, we can't go and leave this dragging on. This needs to be a quick decision. I did like the name you put in there a minute ago, actually, and it's someone that Gary Lineker mentioned. If Potter is out of the running and Moyes is out of the running, then obviously Van Nistelrooy is your top target for me. And then I'd say Lee Carsley. I like the look of Lee Carsley. He's not done a bad job with England under 21. He hasn't done a bad job with the England first team when he's had a few games there. And he looks like he's got different ideas to bring onto someone. It's another option. But I think Van Nistelrooy's got to be your top target now out of that lot.
Before I come to you, Reedy, I'm just going to get as many comments on screen as possible tonight. Scott says here, what is going on? Why have the club not done their due diligence? If there was any doubt in Cooper, which there's been lots of doubt in Cooper by lots of people, obviously, why haven't they been acting on it, he says there. Andy, thanks for watching on YouTube, says, have Leicester chucked all their eggs in one basket hoping to get Potter? I think Andy's asking the question. I don't know the answers, but Andy, surely, if you sack a manager, I run a very, very small business. Lots of people run businesses and do works and are managers, whatever. If you're going to do a change like this, you can't just say, I'm getting rid and not have a thought about what's going on. Surely you have to make those things in there. Lance says here, Moyes would make us hard to beat. He would give us the experience and know how if the league we desperately crave. That sort of made sense, but Lance, we're hearing Moyes is not being considered. Jamie Reed, no Moyes, no Potter. What's your thoughts on those? They would have been your top 2, wouldn't they?
Moyes would have been my third choice, just because I feel like it's the most similar to Cooper, but he would have shored the defence up. Potter was my first choice, and my second choice would have been Ruud van Nistelrooy. So out of the 3, there's only one apparently still in the running for it, but we don't know who is in the running for it. It could be someone we've never even heard of, or one of the people in the list that we've not even really spoke about. My choice at the start of the season, before Cooper came in, I did say Terzic. Yes, people were like, why would a Champions League final manager, who obviously lost in the Champions League final, come to us? But he's a name that is out there. He's free now. He's not got another managing job. So if there is a few managers there that are free, you'd take them. But again, I would take Corberan if the option was there and if we wanted to pay for it. But there is obviously other managers that I would take first, or would be my first priority choice over Corberan if I had to.
So I'm trying to look in our group chat because Mark's just said that actually Potter might be saying he might be coming, but I don't know. Simon, we've not had your take yet on the whole proceedings at Leicester. It's been a weekend, not just with Potter, but again, some of the stuff that's been going on in Copenhagen without putting yourself in any sticky water. What's your take on all that? Because I just don't like to see stuff like that. It's poor timing.
Yeah, me neither. I found that a bit distasteful. What came out with those videos over the weekend from the players. I mean, fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Player, fan, whoever you are, owner. But just show a little bit of respect for me. You know, the guy's not. I've got no axe to grind with Steve Cooper personally. I never particularly thought he was up to the job, if I'm honest, Phil. I think we've talked about that before, but I've got no personal axe to grind with the bloke and just show him a little bit of respect. So that left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, really, that played out like that. I don't like to see that, if I'm honest.
Again, Reedy, I know you had a different take on it, which is fair enough.
Yeah, as much as I wasn't a big fan of Cooper, I think the way I saw it when I first saw it was a fact of maybe they were happy that he was gone, and it felt like maybe they were done with. They were happy with the torture being released from the club, and they do want an Enzo style football back. I know the sign says Enzo, we miss you, but in my take on that was more we miss that style of play and that way of how a manager is meant to be. And that for me, Enzo's level compared to Cooper's level is for me completely turn on his head. So it must be hard for the players to come from play. Yes, it was championship, but the level you had to be at for that style of football was so high level to going down to like a different style of more defensive, more really low block sort of level. They probably weren't happy with it, and that's maybe where when I first saw it, I thought maybe they were a bit glad that the sacking was happened. So I don't know, but then they never know. Then you never know if they knew about the sacking Saturday night. So
yeah, it's an interesting one in there. It's Gray's put in here. Have you not seen that? Gray says, has anybody seen what he's just posted in the group chat? Which I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
but it's Potter. It's somebody called Unbelievable Jeff, who's unverified, saying Graham Potter has signed for Leicester. I'm not believing that, Tom. I don't know about you. Have you seen it in the group chat?
Yeah, I'm not having it yet, mate.
No.
I believe Owen over a random source. So
yeah.
Listen, this that we're putting on screen now is from Owen at BBC Radio Leicester. So I trust Owen has got his finger on the pulse there, Tom.
Oh, definitely. I was going to say, I think if there's anyone out there, he's the person you'd know who's going to have some kind of inside information. He's normally quite spot on with things he puts out, and he knows what's going on at the club.
Tom, just a little one. Nathan says here, wanted Cooper out by the way. The players have acted on beginning to wonder if anybody can sort them out. Seems like poison in the camp.
I look at this whole Saturday night thing. This was pre-planned. This is their Christmas party. This was booked weeks ago. Yeah, okay, the Enzo we miss you sign doesn't help the situation. I'm also the fence what Reedy said earlier. I don't know what the players have thought when Cooper first came through the door. It's a bit completely different appointment to what they just had. You got a manager in Enzo who was structured. There was detail to everything they did. Then you went to a manager who wasn't about detail. It was about doing something completely different. And I think if I was a player sitting on the wall in that dressing room and I'd gone from a manager like Enzo Maresca to Steve Cooper, I think I'd be sitting there questioning what's going on. Why the hell have we gone from a manager with so much charisma, and passion and, finer details to make things correct, to a manager that could barely kept Forest up the first season and then got sacked from the Premier League. And, from the sound of it, I don't think the players really took the Cooper thing well. I don't think they were impressed by the signing, and I don't think they've ever really learnt anything from him. if you look at it, they haven't, because they haven't picked up what he wanted to do, or they've just really just given up on Cooper after the pre-season and just thought this ain't going to work. You look at the tweets from the weekend, especially once he'd gone, there was a lot of people tweeting about Kuntop had been in the dressing room after the game. Players had told them how unhappy they were with what tactics that Cooper were putting out there and said it was a load of crap. You know, we don't know how true this is, but for some of the stuff to come out, it does make you question how much the players have said to Kuntop, enough's enough, mate. If you want to stay up, you've got to get a manager that's tactically better than what we've got at the moment.
It certainly does sound like the players, Simon, maybe, and for me, it's not the first time the players have been involved like this. Obviously, Claudio Ranieri took us to the title, and then within 8 months, the players down tools. Have the players potentially? It's hard to tell, because I think Steve Cooper does have to hold some of the can, obviously, for the performances and style on the pitch. But it does start to smell a little bit like some of the players are maybe down tools in that Man United and Chelsea game. What do you think, Simon?
Yeah, I think they probably did. I mean, it certainly played like they had. If they hadn't, let's be honest, both performances were awful. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think Cooper's tactics helped in either game. Some of the just selections were a bit of a mystery to me. Why Mavropanos running up and down the touchline and not on the pitch on Saturday in favour of McAteer, I don't get that. I don't always be done to be dropped. I know Cooper alluded to being tactical, but yeah, I think the players have never really taken to him. I think the club alluded to that the players didn't really take to Cooper for whatever reason. I think a lot of the fan base hadn't done either. I don't think he did much to really endear himself much to anybody either, if I'm honest. I think it's a bit of a all-round kind of misfit issue. But yeah, I think there is an element of player power in what's gone on over the last few days.
I think for me, for Cooper, the thing that he missed out on that didn't happen was he needed a big win somewhere. That game against Forest, had we won, the game, he needed something to give him a kickstart, and it never happened. And then time's just run out for him. But he's gone. I'm more interested now in who is next. Reedy, if Moyes is out and if Potter's out, who's your next 2 or 3 that you think need to be considered? Because it doesn't look like, Reedy, again, it's our choice particularly. It looks like it's which managers would actually come here.
It's hard, because we were saying in the office earlier that surely with the timing of the sacking, again, if you didn't do it in the international break, surely there's a man in place already ready to sign on the paper, ready to be announced today or tomorrow or whatnot. From what it looks like with Owen's tweets and whatnot, it doesn't even look like we've found anyone yet. So that's the issue. If I had to pick my next 3 choice, if Potter and Moyes weren't in there, I think my first choice would probably be Ruud. I think mainly for the more exciting job, I guess, and he would probably bring more higher level or higher quality players in. In my view, I think he's a bit more exciting to maybe get a few exciting players into the... I think maybe Corberan, if the style of play was there. I know he's in the Championship now, but the style of play is what a lot of clubs look for. Like I always put Company going to Bayern Munich, they're looking at the style, not where he's been. And then other than that, I couldn't really give you. And then the only one that I'd say is maybe a good shout is at Terzic, but I can't see that happening.
All right, lads, listen, I'm going to get a few comments in, and I'm going to drop you 3 out for a second because I've got Ryan and Jono. So if you don't mind hanging around in the green room, we'll get you back on. Is that okay, lads?
Sure.
Got a lot. Obviously, we know loads of people want to get their views in, so we want to get as many in as possible as we can tonight. So I know we've got Ryan and John Towers. I'm going to get them on very, very shortly. Rumours, says Mark, I've been falling out with Vestergaard. I've heard that one as well, Mark. Rogers fell out with Vestergaard. What was Enzo's relationship with him? Well, Enzo wanted to re-sign him for another year, another 3 years, in fact. Lord 444RY says if the new gaffer is not announced Tuesday, then we should worry that the club has not planned ahead. And I think that is a big topic to talk about. I'm going to add in Ryan and I'm going to add in Jono Towers. Let's start. Good evening. Thanks for clicking in, lads. Let's start with you, Ryan. What's your take on what's going on at Leicester at the moment?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, yeah, fire away.
Okay. Interesting the last 24, 48 hours, hasn't it? Goodness me. Whoever we get in, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, well, you're sort of sounding a little bit like maybe the Leicester board are. Moyes doesn't want it. Potter doesn't want it. Jono, what's going on?
Yeah, it's difficult to work it all out, isn't it? I thought that the timing yesterday suggested that potentially they got someone lined up, and because I don't think any of us were really surprised that they'd made the decision, but we were surprised by the timing of it. So the fact that it came yesterday suggested to me that maybe that there was someone lined up, but and they learnt their lessons from the Rodgers debacle. But it seems to me that again we're dithering around again, and I hope that it doesn't run more than a few more days, and we've got someone lined up this week that will take the job. I'm hoping that there's been a handshake deal done, probably behind the scenes. I'm hoping so, and then it will be announced in the next few days. Maybe they're taking their time out of respect for Cooper in some way, by sacking him and then replacing him the next day. Suggests then that potentially the club have been working behind his back. So maybe there's an element of that. But also, I'd like to mention about what the players, the players going off to Copenhagen, and that on the surface of it, to me, just looked really, really distasteful and disrespectful, and not a great look at all. And it might be just down to coincidence that they planned their Christmas party weeks ahead, and the Enzo I miss you sign and all of that stuff just was a really bad look. And yeah, I mean, I think something has to be said to the players about that, to be honest. Whether they liked Cooper or not, that's just total disrespect in my view, and it's not professional. And so for me, I'm hoping the players get a bit of a rap from the club for that.
Yeah, they probably won't.
Probably not.
I agree with you, Jono, but listen, it is. Ryan, I'm going to put on screen the managers who are rumoured. Well, this is the betting. So Moyes and Potter are top two favourites, but they've been ruled out here by Owen at BBC Radio Leicester. So, Ryan, who would you have out of that list? Ruud van Nistelrooy, Corberan, Carrick, Lee Carsley, Mark Robbins, Terzic, Southgate, Mourinho, and it goes on. Ryan, I want you to pick one of those on screen now and let me know who you would have.
Goodness me. None of those candidates really stand out, but apart from Van Nistelrooy, apart from that, the others don't really convince me.
And John, Ryan, I agree with you, to be fair. None of them stand out to me. And the only reason, Jono, I think that Ruud van Nistelrooy stands out is because he's a star striker that we all know the name. If you actually look at his credentials, he hasn't got much as a manager, has he?
I think he did all right at PSV, didn't he?
For a year before he walked out.
True.
It was okay, and then he's had what? He's been at Man United this season, so he's had 11 games, 4 of which he was manager.
I agree with you that from Premier League credentials, he's got none whatsoever, other than the short stint he had at Man U. So we are signing him based on
his
name, a potential, and a name, and I think to a certain degree, a big name. Who potentially knows what he's doing. Hopefully he does know what he's doing. But if he comes in as a big name, he will get instant respect from the players and the squad, and may galvanise and get them to listen and adopt a new setup of some sort. That's the only thing about bringing in a big name, that he might command a bit more respect, potentially with the playing staff. I think it's a bit of a left field one, Van Nistelrooy, and it's a bit of a gamble. Based on the fact that we don't really know what he's capable of at the Premier League level. And that's why I've said numerous times on different places that I think that the Moyes is the safe pair of hands here. For me, Potter, we've tried him twice and he's turned us down. I would be questioning Potter if I was in the interview. I'd say, well, why is it good now and it wasn't back in the summer? Maybe the 9-point deduction has got something to do with that. But for me, Potter's been and gone, and I think that we need to move on from that. And I think out of the list of people, I think Van Nistelrooy is the left field one and a bit of a gamble, but gambles can pay off. Moyes is the sensible choice for me, and that's probably where I would want to go.
Before I let you go, Ryan, here's a quick one for you. Niall Howard says Jose Mourinho, the special one, is the only man for the job. Rude has no CV. Should be Jose or Potter or Moyes. Would you take Jose Mourinho, Ryan?
No. Here's a
Why?
disaster waiting to happen, really. Creates chaos.
It's all about Jose Mourinho if he comes.
Yeah, and that's what I don't like about it.
I agree. Again, go on, Jono.
Well, you can see it in both ways. I can definitely see where you're coming from. I think Jose, though, is a big name. He's won stuff. He would command immediate respect in the squad. And I think he'd get them playing probably not the greatest football, but he'd definitely get them organised and he'd definitely get them motivated. And I think he's got the sort of credentials that people would listen to him. So, yeah, I think as a short-term measure, I can't see him being here 5 years and building something. But I'm not sure that that's what we need right now. I think we need someone to come in and galvanise and get us organised, maybe till the end of the season, maybe a bit longer. And then we start pushing on. If we stay in the division, we push on from there. That's my view. So, again, I think Moyes is the one for me that ticks a lot of those boxes. It won't be pretty under Moyes, but he'll get us organised and get us hard to beat.
Listen, Ryan and Jono, I'm going to let you both go. Thanks so much for clicking on the link. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jono. We'll see you very soon. I appreciate all your comments. Thanks, guys. I'm going to get Tom and Simon back on, but I've shared the link out there. So if you do want to come in and give us your views, please do that. Ryan says, just think who would come to the club if Jose was the manager. Again, I'll ask this to the lads in a minute because his name is there in the link. The councillor says, I'd take Jose in a heartbeat, the special one. It's a name. And I'm going to ask you guys and everybody watching. Well, last time we sacked a manager like this was probably Paulo Sousa back in, I don't know, 20. I'm trying to remember when it was. 2011? Maybe around that. We sacked Paulo Sousa. And do you know who came in was Sven-Goran Eriksson, which was like a Jose Mourinho coming in. Could history repeat itself, I wonder? Mark says, give Cambiasso a go, maybe as a second, as a temporary structure. To be fair, Mark, I'd rather put Cambiasso in there than Ruud van Nistelrooy or Corberán, because at least he's got some pedigree and history with Leicester. And I could probably back that a little bit more than some of these names I'm seeing in there. Patrick says, has anybody mentioned Neil Warnock? He'd probably come in and do a job. There was rumours before years ago that Warnock would come in, so it could be an interesting one. Let's get Reedy, Simon and Tom back in, and then Joe's clicked in. Joe, I will get you in very, very shortly. Again, a little bit there. Tom, Jose Mourinho.
No, thank you. I'm just going to go back to Reedy's record, actually. I've just taken this snippet, so if I can put it on, if it'll come on. There you go. That was Ruud van Nistelrooy's record for PSG. 51 games, 33 wins, 10 draws, 8 losses, 126 goals for and 60 goals against, a goal for a difference of 66. Obviously, the Man United, 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw, no losses, 11 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, Tom,
his record was bad for a manager that only had 1 season at PSV. I mean, it is the Dutch
I agree,
league, but it's still not a bad record.
I agree. I'm not downing him on it.
Oh, no.
It is the Dutch league. There's 2 teams effectively in that league. 3, if you want to put in Ajax and Feyenoord. PSV. It's like saying somebody did well at Celtic or Rangers, isn't it?
Hey, Rodgers came to us from there, mate.
And Rodgers has gone back there. Listen, I don't
mind.
No,
I'm just saying. It was just everyone was talking about it. I just wanted to see what his actual manager record was.
But if I put Jose Mourinho's record manager up there, it would far exceed it. It's Champions Leagues, it's European Cups, it's Premier League titles.
I just don't.
If you did have the choice between Jose Mourinho, Tom, or Ruud van Nistelrooy, one has a massive pedigree.
you obviously aren't going to turn down the chance to sign Jose Mourinho, but Leicester City are not going to get the chance to sign Jose Mourinho. In the real world, we haven't got that kind of money to buy him. Even though he keeps saying he wants to come to not a top six club, you're still going to have a big package of money. You're talking the money we were paying Rodgers, £10 million plus a year to get a manager of his stature to come to a club like Leicester. It doesn't matter what it is, he's still going to want a big payday to come to a club and back in England, mate. And I just don't see that happening. Would I say no? Of course you want someone of his ability, but there's also the circus that come with Jose Mourinho, and do we need that right now with everything that's going on?
Simon, I mentioned Paulo Sousa and Sven-Göran Eriksson. I believe that was under Top's regime all that happened. I can't quite remember the year. I'm going to say about 2011 or 12, something like that, was it?
Yeah.
There is previous for going. I mean, that was a big surprise at the time when they managed to. It was a coup to get Sven in. So could they go for somebody like Mourinho?
Well, I mean, certainly with Kunvichai, he wouldn't have ruled it out. He liked a big name as our manager. He liked to go for the kind of marquee managers, and for a good reason. People like that come with a pedigree. I mean, I think from memory that Sousa thing happened earlier in the season than this has. It was even quicker. It was 3 or 4, 5 games in. It wasn't that long at all. And we were
seven, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were bloody awful. I can remember going down to watch us at Palace, who lost 3-1, and it was just abject. I was all up for him going as well, if I'm honest. But yeah, this is I don't know. Mourinho, for me, I don't know. This group of players clearly have a lot of egos within this squad. There's a lot of egos in there. They need someone who they're going to respect and who they're going to listen to from minute one. And there's no point for me messing around with all of these kind of untried, unproven. I mean, I know if the two main candidates are out, we have to take a bit of a gamble. But for me, we need a name, someone that the players are going to sit down and listen to from minute one. So, yeah, I'd take Mourinho, personally.
I'm laughing because Chapster 37's put Ted Lasso in there. Reedy, you've been quite a big advocate of Corberan from West Brom, on and off, even before Cooper's been appointed, Cooper's gone. You've still said Corberan's a good shout. Again, I just don't see that somebody who can get a team to 6th in the Championship and that's it should suddenly be in. But talk me through why you feel he could be the guy. Because for me, it's a no.
It's the style of play. Again, I keep saying it with, like, say, Company. There's other managers as well that... It's like Enzo. He hasn't had any managerial experience. Yes, he was under probably one of the best managers you can probably call about. But it's the style of play. It doesn't matter where he is. Again, yes, he has got West Brom to 5th or 6th at the moment. But it's about... He hasn't got as quality players. If you put him in a better squad,
he hasn't got quality Premier League players at Leicester, Reedy.
That's what you think, mate. I'm not saying we're a top 10 team, but I'm saying that we need a manager who can get the most out of the players. And for me, last year, not every manager could have got us up last season. And even with the team we had, I don't think every manager would have got us up. I think
but a lot could have.
Maybe so, but I think it fit us perfectly last season, in my opinion, to how we played, to show how good quality we did have. And I think we can get the most out of players with a manager like Corberan or Rude with the style of play. With what Owen Palmer said about Moyes, I'm kind of happy about that. Just because out of the choice I would have had, I probably wanted Moyes over managers, because I wanted a bit more of a gamble. As much as I know this season isn't about a gamble, and we know we need the points. In my opinion, I want to see a bit more of a gamble to see if we can get this team going a bit better and looking like a better squad than we probably could be.
I mean, Tom, really saying he wants a gamble. If it's one thing I think we don't want at the moment is a gamble. I think that's why
my opinion.
I know, I understand that, Reedy. I think Moyes would have been the utmost ungamble gamble, because he would have just come in and goes, right, I know how to organise a team. I know how to make sure you do the drills, you do this, we defend like that. It would have been quite
Moyes would have been the safest option. I will agree with that, but I'm glad that he might have been out of it.
Well, you were glad we lost on Saturday as well, Reedy, but that's another story. Tom, Reedy's saying about taking a gamble on now. It looks like, by the list of the names that are potentially available, it will be a gamble.
Well, I'm just looking at the odds now, and Van Nistelrooy's now moved into pole position at 5-2. Potter's 5-2. Moyes has gone out to 4s, and Carberra's at 10s. Michael Carrick, Robbins, I mean, there's even just Daniel Rossi on it. Whoever comes in, if it isn't out the three we were talking about last night, is always going to be a gamble because of not having that Premier League experience. Even Van Nistelrooy doesn't really have Premier League experience as a manager, does he? He had 4 games. Yes, he's been at Man United since the beginning of the season. I think he joined them. But again, you wouldn't say he's got Premier League experience to become a manager in the thing. So look, it's always a gamble. Moyes was my main choice at the beginning. Yes, it was a short-term fix, but for me, this season and next season is about stability, staying in the Premier League, and then you go and start trying to build. Look at Forest. 2 years of keeping themselves in the Premier League. 3rd year, they've gone and got a manager. Halfway through last year, they've got a manager who knows this division, has spent wisely, and not probably let the chairman go out and tell him what he wanted, unlike Cooper did at Forest. He was just given a load of players and told to work with them. And look where they are now. They're flying. And it is about the first 2 years of being a stable club back in the Premier League. Anything more, you can completely muck it up.
That's why I say to people, that is 100%, Tom. I agree with you on that. This season was just about somehow clawing away to stay into this division and then take it from there. And that's why I was like, give Cooper enough of a chance, because I felt he could be the right guy. Clearly, he's been gone, but I think whoever the next manager is, it's the same thing. It's about managing to claw away to stay in this division. I'm going to add Joe Wright in and Nick Moore. Guys, anybody who's on screen now, if you do need to go, or if you can hang around, please hang around. Let's add in Joe and Nick. Nick, I'm going to start with you, Nick, and then come to you, Joe. Nick, thanks for clicking on the link. Don't forget, anybody who's watching, you can click on the link. The more the merrier. Nick, just talk us through where we are as a club at the moment and what your thoughts are.
Well, I think as a club we're in a mess. I'm happy with the decision, as you guys know. Yesterday, I think Cooper. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really did. He was the only one who wanted the job. Blah blah blah. But I started leaning towards the out after that Manchester United performance, where he sent 11 players on the pitch who had no idea what they were doing, clearly didn't care. And you saw him on the sideline, and he hadn't got a clue what was going on either. I personally would love David Moyes. I know Palmer Atkins said him and Potter ain't, being considered. Well, I think that's stupid. Why are they not being considered? You've got somebody there in the David Moyes that's, look what he did at Everton, look what he did at West Ham, proven Premier League experience, knows how to keep a team in this division, and would give you a lot of, defensive spirit, and that, like you said, Phil, that fight, that, scrappiness. They'd certainly respect him. He's been in the game long enough.
But Nick, did that the players not scrapping the last couple of games, which I think lots of people picked up on. Do you rest that all at Cooper's door, like you were saying, or sometimes you have to look the players in the face and go, "You guys have down tools a bit."
Yeah, but to be fair though, Phil, Reedy works for you, correct?
Yeah.
If you haven't got a clue what you're doing, how's Reedy supposed to do his job if you don't tell him what to do and you ain't got a clue? Do you know what I mean? Your company would go tits up. It's the same process. If you can't tell your employees or your players what they need to do clearly enough so it sinks in, it's never going to work.
I know why Tom's laughing, and I know why Reedy's laughing. I asked him, I'm going to drop him in it now. He's sorted it. Good lad. Look at that. There's I can't say it. You got me.
I'll tell you what though. I don't want Corberan. I'm with you on that one. I don't want Corberan. He's not proven anything.
Well, he's proven that he can get West Brom to 6th in the Championship.
Yeah, but they were flying at the
that's
beginning of the season, Phil. Look where they're falling down now. He's got no Premier League experience. We need some. You know as well as I do, the Championship is a completely different league to the Premier League. And I think, it's all well and good smashing the Championship and scoring goals, but it's a different kettle of fish, the Premier League. And I think some of our players have found that out.
Yeah. Joe, thanks for joining us. Joe, what do you want to say about Leicester?
I just think, obviously, Phil, I came on here a couple of weeks ago, and I was very much Cooper in. I went to the United game, and I think just to kind of talk about what Nick said, I watched the game from up above, and I could see the whole pitch, and we just didn't really have that fight. And I just thought, with the fans being on Cooper's back, it was never gonna turn around. The environment's been toxic basically since the start of the season, really. Unless Cooper got 3 wins on the bounce at the start of the season, he was never going to last. In terms of the man that I want in, I know we're hearing reports that it's not going to happen, but for me, Moyes is the only logical choice. I know he's not playing attractive football, and I know we want a style of play, but it's just he's the only one that gives me confidence that we can go on and actually stay up, and I think he stabilises the club. I think he's a good, stable choice, and that's what we need right now. I know everybody's talking about a style of play, how we want to play, but you've got to look at the players that we've got, and you've got to look at what we can achieve. And obviously, Fatawu being out for the whole of the season is not going to have helped. And I just think that we are in a situation now where we need to get this appointment right. We need to get it right, because if we don't, we'll be left with egg on our face. We're not in a financial position where we can fork out all the money in the world for a manager either. That's what people need to remember. So, even Corberan, you're going to need to pay West Brom handsomely to get him out of the club. So it needs to be the right appointment. And yeah, it's a bit concerning in my opinion.
Tom, we touched on Corberan a little bit there. Another name in the mix is Michael Carrick, who's at Middlesbrough. And again, I see a little bit more potential in Carrick, but I'd also say he's got a big Middlesbrough are a big club. They're the same size as Leicester, give or take, the same size stadium. We know them back in from the 90s, 2000s. They've got similar credentials to Leicester. They've not won the title, obviously, not won as many trophies as us. But Michael Carrick's got Middlesbrough to the heady heights of 5th in the Championship. Again, I know people have said, look, sometimes you've got to take that gamble, but what's your thoughts on Michael Carrick?
He's another young, exciting manager who's trying to prove his worth in the Championship. Would you look at the likes of Lampard, at Gerrard, when they've been given the opportunity in the Premier League? It hasn't really worked out for any of them. It's a very different situation, the Championship to the Premiership. Massive step up for any manager. You'd sort of give credit to Lampard with not having any transfer budget or any transfer to bring in, because there was an embargo to get them into the top 4 that season. And then, he got sacked after losing 8 games in a row, when really had enough credit in the bank to keep him there a bit longer. But Carrick, again, he's just starting out on his journey. It would be a massive gamble to put him in there. And like you said, someone with the experience he hasn't got at the moment, how many games do you give him before you'd start panicking? We talked about this last night, how many games do you give a manager? Someone who's got the experience is different to someone who hasn't got the experience. I think if you're going to give the job to someone, it's got to be someone who knows this division, in my view. That's just my opinion. I know someone mentioned Brighton earlier, and I understand you saying they chucked it. Look at Brighton's squad of players. They have built a squad over many seasons now to know that they can take a bit of a risk by bringing someone who isn't known into their club, because they've got ability in there of some really good youth players, but some more experienced players as well. They can take a gamble if they didn't work out and then bring someone else in. But their recruitment, and if you listen to the Brighton chairman, this is one thing I do like about Brighton. Their chairman is already looking for their next manager now. I can guarantee it, because he said, I look for the next manager even when I've got a manager sitting in the hot seat, because in football, you never know when a manager might walk, we might have to sack someone, or someone comes in to poach your manager. He's already building a picture who he wants and where they are in the world, and he's having them scouted. It worries me that we're not doing that at the moment, and then we're sitting here now after sacking a manager again. that we haven't got a picture, and we don't know. They might have a picture they want to go for, but it is worrying when we're hearing rumours that Potter's out the equation and David Moyes is out the equation in the space of 48 hours, when as a fan base, I think we all sitting here thinking it'd be one of those 3 managers we were talking about last night. So to see that they might be out of it already, what have the club got up their sleeve? What they're not telling anyone? And have they been looking at the next manager from afar, in case it didn't work out?
It's interesting. Let's get some fans' comments in. We're running, obviously, overtime tonight. We knew there'd be a lot to talk about in there. Wayne, thanks for watching. Wayne says we haven't got time for a gamble. Need Premier League experience in there. Somebody says here, Jason. Now listen, my football knowledge outside of Leicester is sketchy. I know Pep Guardiola, obviously, but he says Pep didn't have Premier League experience. I think Jason, was a vast experience as a player. Went on. I think he managed Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Did he not, lads? Am I forgetting my stats there?
Yeah, no, he did. He won Champions Leagues and he won league titles wherever he went.
Jason, I hear what you say, but yeah, he'd done everything in the game before coming in there. Matt, I think, and I'll ask Nick about this one because he hasn't answered it yet. But Matt says you can bring the best manager in the world in, which we won't get, by the way, and they would struggle with this group of players. They lack quality and need to look at their own professionalism. This job is a poisoned chalice for whoever gets it. Nick, what is your take on the players and some of the Copenhagen stuff? I'm reacting to Matt's question.
Let's be realistic. It's not like this hasn't happened before in our club. If you remember under Rodgers' time when COVID was a thing, do you remember the COVID party? And then we played West Ham, and that's when the slugs all started, didn't it? Under Rodgers, that's where it all stemmed from.
Yeah, because he tried to put his foot down. You are right there, Nick. Rodgers tried to put his foot down, and from what we're hearing, Cooper's tried to put his foot down with some of these decisions, and players haven't liked it. That's what we're hearing.
Yeah, well, there's so many rumours going around about this season under Cooper. I mean, I've heard rumours about him and Vestergaard having a ruck on the training pitch. So there's something not right. I mean, Vardy's reaction on Saturday and stuff. Now, Vardy's been here best part of 10 plus years. I've never seen him act like that. So there's obviously something that's happened behind the scenes that we're all not aware of. Because Vardy doesn't like being subbed off. He gets that, but he never has that reaction. Have you guys ever seen him do that? Because I certainly haven't.
I just want to say something on this point. This thing I've picked up quite a few this year from Cooper's interviews, and I don't think Cooper's helped himself by saying what he has said so many times when he kept saying Jamie Vardy is the main man here. You can't keep saying it. I don't care.
Why, Tom? Why?
Because yes, you can say he's the main man on the pitch, but when you keep saying it over and over again, it makes you think automatically that Jamie Vardy's got more of a say in what's going on at the football club than the manager.
Do you think he does have?
Yeah, he might do. But Jamie,
to be fair, though, Tom,
as a manager, you can't do that. You've got to be the one showing the leadership, and you've got to be the one saying, "I know, I'm the manager. I'm going to run this football club, and we're going to do what I need to do." If you've got players, you're saying the players are the main people here before you start. You're already starting to doubt him already. That you're already saying that players are bigger than him. The manager is the biggest person at the football club with what he does there. So you can't be saying the stuff he was saying. He was already starting to hide himself by saying Jamie Vardy's the main man. And he said it on so many occasions. I was thinking, you shouldn't be saying this because you're not doing yourself any justice what you're trying to do here. And it felt like he was just trying to win the fans over, in my view, on those comments quite a bit.
He's not going to win the fans over by coming out with stuff like that. Let's be fair. Jamie Vardy he's more than the main man. He certainly is in my eyes. He's on the Mount Rushmore of Leicester City players.
But I mean, Aggie says here. Sorry, Nick. You can come back to that, Nick. Aggie says I reckon Vardy does have a big say in the club. I think he does. I think last year, by the way, Vardy called the players together when we went on that massive losing streak and we're about to blow the championship. And I believe I've been told that Southampton game we played 5-1 was down to Jamie Vardy saying, we ain't playing Enzo way, we're playing a different way, Nick.
Yeah, well, it just goes to show the stature of what he's got. I mean, you think about it, he's been loyal to the club. He could have gone. He's won the Premier League with us, he's won the FA Cup with us, the Championship title twice with us, broken Nistelrooy's record, which will be interesting if Nistelrooy gets the job, because Vardy will be winding him up saying, I'll beat your record. you can't not argue that Vardy's got that icon cult status in Leicester City Football Club. Anybody who says he doesn't, I'm sorry. In the words of Nigel Pearson, you're an ostrich.
I'm not saying he hasn't got that status, mate. What I'm saying is, as a manager of a football club coming in, you've got to be able to say you are the leader of this team. And when you keep saying over and over again, Jamie Vardy's the main man, he's the main man, you know, you just start to doubt the manager before you even start. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Jamie Vardy isn't. Jamie Vardy is the biggest legend that Leicester City Football Club's ever had. There's no doubt about that. But for me, if you keep saying repeatedly a player is bigger than you as the manager, then you're already starting to lose that battle with the players on the pitch, in my head.
But Tom, you agreed with me last night when we were all on together, and you agreed with me last night that Cooper is not a manager; he's a coach.
Oh no, I completely agree on that.
Somebody like a David Moyes, or somebody that's got a bit about him, that's been in the game long enough, has that experience, would have stamped that out from day one. Whereas Cooper's made her own rod for his own back. He's not a coach. He's better off coaching players. He's got no experience as being a manager.
He hasn't got the experience to lead a team. And I think you saw that at Forest. He came up with... everyone talks about this whole first season at Forest. He brought that team up. That was his team. He had that rapport with the players. He'd got players who were bang average championship players into the Premier League, probably doubling their wages just from getting promoted. They were all going to be matey-matey with him. Of course they were, and he had that rapport. For the second season, when starts things to get a bit tough, and the players aren't being able to do it, and he's brought in 22 new signings in a season, it didn't work out for him, and he went. And that's what I mean. I think Steve Cooper is a very good coach, and I think if you look at his record at under-21s and the under-17s, he won a World Cup with the under-17s. He's not a bad coach. Manager-wise, I don't think he is a manager, because I don't think his man management ability with individual players, as we've seen with Vestergaard and Hamza Chowdhury, Harry Winks, apparently he's had all fallings out with them. To be a good manager, you need to be able to manage the players. Keep saying that Vardy's your main man, you're not managing them. You're basically blowing him to be the main person around the football club. And for me, the manager is the main one running the ship, not the players.
Let's get a few fans' comments in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to come to Reedy next. Reedy, I want you to check, if you can, please, the latest betting odds, because it's changed even during this live show tonight. Let's get some comments in. Richie says Leicester City need to look at what they're doing. Richie, my question to you is, and I know you've done it before, my memory's like shocked, Richie, but I know you've applied to be the Leicester City manager more than once, I think. Richie, are you going to apply again? Because you never know, this time you might just have a half a shot. Let me know in the comments, Richie, that you have applied before, and if you're going to do it this time, just for fun. Adam says, whoever we get in, we've got to back them. Rodgers took us 5th. Fans wanted him out. I think that was timing. Enzo was first. Some fans wanted him out. Cooper 15th after promotion. Fans wanted him out. Our fans need to realise who we are and where we are as a football club. We have to back the manager, whoever it is. That's Adam's views in there. I'm sort of echo some of what Adam's saying in there. Nick says, I think what Tom is trying to say is, why would a manager allude to the fact a player is more important than himself? Seems bizarre to himself. Well, I haven't heard too much about that, Nick, but from what Tom's saying, it definitely sounds like he is saying, look, there's people in this club who are bigger than me and have more of a say. And I'm not being funny. It actually sounds like that, what could have happened on Saturday. Ben, watching on YouTube, says, we'll end up with Lampard or Benitez at this rate. Neither Nick or Ben are in the shout at all there. Andy goes on to say, Vardy is a legend, but he's not bigger than the club. I think he does have a lot of say in the club. Philipton, hope you're well, says, lack of proper captain needs attention, whoever gets the job in there. Let's go to Reedy now. Have you looked at the odds, Reedy?
Yeah.
Go on then. Talk us through.
So Moyes is somehow top still with, obviously I know all this can change. Moyes is top. Potter, Van Nistelrooy, Corberan, Carrick, Carsley, Robbins, Sertic, Southgate, Mourinho, So again, top 3 is still the same, and I don't think, like I say, media does change it a lot, but normally when something big or something like kind of concrete, like Owen Bomber-Atkins has come out, I'm surprised them 2 names has really not dropped much, because if anything like that comes out, then normally that's where things really fluctuate. So I'm not too sure.
I mean, Ryan, Mark Robbins is another name. Did well at Coventry, got them promoted, put them to the edge of the Championship playoffs, but they didn't do it, and then has got sacked. Mark Robbins can't be considered, can he, Ryan?
No, he can't. No. I think he's has to earn the right to get Premier League experience, and unfortunately, he hasn't earned it yet. So until he gets a club promoted from the Championship, it has to be a no.
Yeah, you just wouldn't go for that. Would you go? What about Carrick or Corberan?
They're the same, really. I wouldn't fancy those two either.
Yeah, neither of those two. I think, listen, everybody, it's been great to get everybody's views on tonight. We've well overrun today. I'm going to go around one by one. I'll start with Reedy and then go to Simon. Where do you think, when do you think this is going to end up this week, Reedy? Same question for all of you. When and who? Let's start with you, Reedy.
When I'm very surprised that we haven't got somebody on pen on paper already, but I would hope it's going to be before the Brentford game, even if it's Friday, the day before the game. You've got to get someone in. It's like the Rodgers situation. If you leave it for a couple of weeks and you have a couple of games played, they're games where you could get points out of with an actual manager in charge. So for me, you've got to get in before the Brentford game. And then if I had the choice out of everyone, my main one would be Rude if Moyes and Potter are out the equation now. But a fun one would be Mourinho or Terzic, just as like a bit of a fun one, I would say.
Simon, when and who?
When should have been today. Worst case tomorrow. That's obviously not going to happen. It's unlikely. We need to get it done before Friday, as Reedy just alluded to. I'd hope Moyes, that's out the window by the look of it, unless all of these media sources have got their wires crossed with what's left. Van Nistelrooy, with what's left for me.
Yeah, Tom?
I thought it was going to be done today, if I'm honest with you. I thought the way he sacked him last night, I genuinely believe that the club had someone in place to come in, and that this morning would have been crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and it would have been 3 or 4 o'clock that we knew the new manager was done and dusted. If it ain't Potter and Moyes, then it's definitely Van Nistelrooy for me. I think what we saw in the games for Man United, his record 3 wins and 1 draw is very good. And that draw was against Chelsea.
Appointed manager on 3 wins and 1 draw. That's his career.
Yeah, plus PSV. But look, you've got to go for someone exciting. He's got a bit of charisma about him. He's obviously got sync about him if the people are going to look at him. But if not, then it's a tricky one, Phil. Because, like I say, Potter and Moyes aren't, then Van Nistelrooy is the better one out of the bunch, is it really? Unless you do go for a coach again, like we did with Cooper, and you then go down the Carsley route. You go down the Michael Carrick route, who are fresh, young, exciting managers. But again, for me, I think you've got to have experience in there. So
if Moyes and Potter are out the equation, then anyone we go for now is a gamble. It is. Anyone's a gamble now. If them two aren't in the equation, there's no one else really you could look at that is Premier League experience, unless it is Moyes, who has been in the Premier League before. Mourinho, sorry, not Moyes.
Nick, I'm going to ask you when and who. That is still the same question. But if we don't get Potter or Moyes, and if they turn up at another club in the next 3 or 4 months, what's it say about Leicester City?
Another missed opportunity. I was, like Tom said, I was kind of hoping it would have been done by today, but let's not forget this is the same club that's fax machine that was 14 seconds too late to sign a player in January.
Yeah. Well, and also a club who get relegated and go out to Singapore to play Liverpool in the rain.
So anything these days is not surprising.
Also a club who charge you 25 quid to have a bit of plastic you already own.
Exactly.
Also a club who have a sponsor. I mean,
that's gone bankrupt.
Also a club who, when we get relegated, set the same people who got you relegated to have a look at why they got relegated and then wonder what the answer is.
Also the club that got relegated with the most expensive squad ever.
We could go on.
Well, yeah, we could.
There is a whole heap here, isn't there?
But, think about it. Are you all of you? Are you?
Didn't need it.
All of you? Are you surprised why it's not been announced?
Of course not.
No, not surprised at all.
Out of everything that we've been spoken about, again, with Cooper being sacked now instead of the international break, everyone thought on this live show, or everyone who are in the Leicester fan base would have thought this would have been all planned. If we, like I say, we were told that this was all been thought about or even in contention for a few weeks. This should have been sorted and should have been confirmed by Wednesday at the latest.
If you're watching this live, I'm going to ask all the lads on screen, but if you're watching this live, just put in the comments if you thought that yesterday when Cooper was sacked and it was announced that you assumed we had the next guy lined up. Put in the comments if you just assumed that it was sorted. Just watching this, just nod your heads if you assumed we got it sorted.
I thought we'd be sitting here tonight talking about the new manager and who it was. Generally, all day, I think you two must have been waiting to do your graphics in the office.
Literally, I said at 4:59. I said I'm not setting this show up because within 2 hours we could know. So.
Yeah, I thought we'd be sitting here tonight. I've generally all afternoon been sitting there waiting for the tweet to say Leicester City are delighted to announce the appointment of X, Y, or B. I generally thought we'd be sitting here tonight talking about the new manager, not sitting here debating who the new managers still could be, and that we might not get the ones we've been talking about now.
Literally everybody who's commenting, I'm not going to put them all on the screen, but I'm reading them all. We can all read them. Everybody is saying, like TJ Chapman says, I thought it was a done deal. Gareth says, you would have thought so. Everybody commenting saying we assumed that it was lined up.
But that one tweet from Owen already shows you it's not lined up. Because
that's what that tweet shows you. It's not that Potter and Moyes aren't having it, don't interested. It shows it's not. We don't know who we want. It's not.
We've got the proof that they've not learned from last time when it comes to decision making. They haven't learned anything.
Doesn't it contradict the statement that they brought out yesterday, saying it was been on the cards for a while? They've analysed this, that, and the other. That totally contradicts what they put out yesterday.
Yep.
I've not asked Ryan when and who. Let's finish that one off, Ryan.
When
when
am I expecting it to be done? I don't think it will be done until the West Ham game, I think. And who? I think it will be with Van Nistelrooy. I'm with Tom on that.
You think Van Nistelrooy? Dean is saying Tom for manager. Listen, I would buy into the Tom as manager.
Oh, here we go.
But Reed is assistant. Wow.
Every manager needs a T-boy. You got to remember that.
If they are going to sign Van Nistelrooy, Phil, they need to get on with it because Hamburger's sniffing around him at the minute as well. So they can't afford to wait very long. If that's where the strategy's going, need to get on with it and get on with it now.
I thought as well. Sorry, Phil. I thought as well that we were good to get us as being the first manager to be sacked, other than like Ipswich or Southampton or anyone like that, because then we could get the first pick of managers. But by the looks of it, we could be second or third choice by now, because Southampton within the next couple of days could sack their manager and try and pick out somebody that we've already been looking at. So I can't believe we've not got it sorted already.
You read out Matt's. Read it, Reedy.
Yeah, I'm not reading that. I know what it is. It's true. Fucking no one. Yeah, exactly. Fucking no one.
That's probably the comment of the night. Do we all think? I mean, Ryan just said he thinks it'll be done before West Ham. I would guess most people watching this live and most of us on screen here would want it done this week. The sooner the better.
Brentford has to be done before Brentford.
I agree with that, but can you trust the board though to do that? No, I don't think so.
It will not be done before. I'll be very surprised if it's done before Brentford. Now, with us saying that two managers aren't in contention, it means we've not even figured out who we want yet. So, and it's not going to be that. It's not going to take us that quick to sign a new manager now. So, I mean, we already know that from previous with Rodgers when we sacked him, we didn't have a manager for 2-3 weeks until the 2 games happened. So we already know how Leicester were.
The other thing that's relevant here as well, Phil, is that it's not just the manager. We've let our assistant manager and our first team coach go as well. So a team's got to be built, not just the manager. That takes time. You know, we should have been appointing a manager today or tomorrow, building a backroom staff for the rest of the week, and then they could have taken the touchline on the weekend. this is not going to be quick now because we've clearly not got a strategy.
Well, Simon, I mean, I joked at the start, is it Doris the tea lady and Taffy the kit man, bless him? I don't know who is running the show on Saturday, because Reedy said it. Actually, the people taking charge tomorrow, their thing is apparently we have a set-piece coach, which I find outstanding to know that we've got a set-piece coach, because the set pieces this season have been beyond bad, Reedy.
I think
That's who you said was taking it on.
apparently, I think that's who we've got left
So-
to manage the team.
Yeah,
Thompson,
first team manager is overseen by Ben Dawson, supported by coaches Andy Lockcock and Andy Hughes. Andy Hughes is the bloke we signed from Norwich in the summer to be our set-piece coach. The other two who left the club were people that had worked with Cooper at Forest, and another one we signed from Forest was the video analysis bloke who we apparently paid about £2 million for in the summer. So what a waste of money that was.
For who? For one of the coaches?
Yeah, for the analysis
gone?
bloke who left.
Yeah, Steve Wands.
Why did
People
he
wonder
go then,
why we're
Tom?
in the crapper on financial.
Huh?
Why is he gone if we paid to get him in?
Because obviously he was one of Cooper's coaches that he brought in, and obviously the club have not seen enough from him, I presume. A very strange decision that you bring in an analysis coach and spend £2 million rumoured to be for him, that he's gone now as well. So it shows it's a strange decision, because obviously Tate was out of work because he had obviously left when Cooper left Forest, but they went to Forest and had to pay a compensation to get.
I thought we were strapped for cash. £2 million could have bought you, like, you could have took a gamble on, and a young up and coming player from the League One for £2 million.
I can tell you the thing.
So
That is
hang on a minute. We can't pay compensation for, say, like when we were linked with Corbrand in the summer. We couldn't pay compensation, but yeah, we were still able to pay compensation for video analyst Steve Wands.
Well,
How
I think
does that make sense?
from reading at the moment, if you want Corbrand, you're looking about £2.5 million compo to get him out of his contract at West Brom. That's what I was reading about 5 to 10 minutes ago when we were having a chat to see what his release clause is at the moment. About £2.5 million.
How much has Cooper cost to sack, Phil? He was on a 3-year contract.
I believe it's £2 million, but I'm only going what I've read in the press.
Can't be any worse than what Rodgers was.
No, but listen, lads. I'm sure this week we're going to be doing lots of live. Simon, you will be live on Thursday at 7:30.
Yeah.
What can happen by then?
Well, let's hope we're talking about a new manager. For me, that's the key. We want to be talking about a new manager Thursday night, and what's going to happen at the weekend with someone new at the helm. Because, as you've just alluded to, if we're kind of rambling into this weekend with some kind of lower level coaches running the club, who's going to take the team at the weekend? We haven't got anyone at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. When are you live?
7:30 Thursday night, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we will be live whenever anything happens.
If anything happens.
Look at Reedy, the bringer of doom and gloom.
If anything happens.
He's the expert in doom and
You
gloom.
never know, we could go a whole season without the manager.
Hang on. If. I've just changed it. There you go, Reedy.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. If anything happens.
Honestly, he's so pessimistic. It'll be when something happens. Well, there will be a new manager. It may be tomorrow. It may be Wednesday. It may be Thursday. Let's hope it's before the weekend. But they're not giving them long. Surely Leicester would have had a plan. Surely. But it seems...
You have to think so, surely, man.
Surely. I'm not saying they've not, because it might be tomorrow. We might. I don't want to have egg on our faces. Let's hope it would be. But like Reedy says, and one last look at that graphic for those of you who might have missed it, which is from Owen at BBC Radio Leicester. His tweet says Graham Potter and David Moyes are not currently being considered for the vacant manager's role at Leicester City. By the way, I like how they word that. We're not considering them. I just assume.
Considered that word consider means that they've not got anyone in charge yet. Or not got anyone pen on paper yet, so it's going to be a long time waiting.
We'll see. Listen, Reedy, thank you. Simon, thank you. Toms, thank you. Nick, thank you. Ryan, thank you. I'll let you all go.
Phil, before I go, Saturday, join me for a watch along. There we go. I'll do a watch along Saturday. There's 900 you need enough in this tonight. If I get half of you, come and join me for a watch along. Let's have some fun. Let's hope we've got a manager in charge to talk about going into that game.
And Reedy, you'll be at the match.
Yes, I will be, yeah. Actually, I'm actually excited to go to this game, mate. Can't wait. I'm actually excited to go and watch football. Let's go. Even with a no manager, I'd still be more excited.
At least there'll be no more Cooper out. That's all sorted now.
Thank God for
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
I had to have a car journey with Reedy all the way to the match going, and he's literally saying, I hope we lose today so that Cooper gets sacked. I've never known somebody who loves this club to say, I want us to lose.
I said my
words.
words.
Guessing he's a secret Forest fan anyway.
My
so
words.
That's
My
loads to see
words
people
were-
waving a flag when we've sacked a manager. Jesus Christ.
My words were.
What a club we support at the moment.
If we lost to Chelsea and then he was sacked, I'd take the loss, and it happened. So
I never want to see Leicester lose, really. Whatever.
I don't.
Ever.
But I wanted this man out. That's all I wanted.
You got it. Be
Well,
careful
not
what you
one
wish
shall.
for. That's what we're going to leave it for.
Oh,
Anyway.
now I'm scared.
Anyways, listen, we all love Leicester. We'll be there, whatever. And that is what I want to say to all you guys and everybody watching. I think that's the biggest thing, is the players can do what they like. Even the owners can do what they like. The managers come, they go, the assistant coaches. Me, Reedy, Simon, Tom, Nick, Ryan, you guys, everybody watching this, we'll be there come what may. We were there in League One. We were there in the Championship. We're there at the top when we won it all. And we'll be back down there again if we get to League One again. We'll still be there. So we're the consistent thing in this club. And we don't always have the same views. That's what Leicester Fan TV is always about, having a mixed view, but trying to listen to other people. If you don't agree with them, like I always say this, I think that's the most important thing, is listen to other people and go, you've got a point of view. I don't happen to agree with it, but I'll take it on board and I'll try and learn from what you're saying, and we can agree to disagree. We don't need to call each other idiot names. We just get on with it and have a nice time. That's what it's like. If I meet you down the pub, we'll have a pint, and we'll always talk Leicester. We're all Leicester, as we all used to say. Thanks everybody who's watching, and thanks everybody who's got their comments in. We'll go live the minute there's any hot gossip, any news. So make sure you stay tuned. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on the other channels, give us a like and a share. And make sure, I want to say the biggest thank you to every single person who's clicked on that link tonight and come and had live. We want more people like that, but mostly thanks for everybody who's got their comments in. We can't do without your comments. That's what it's all about. We try to get as many on screen and talk about as much as we can. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.
Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.